everyone. At the moment, I'm in conversation with Sabina Nowak, Dr. Sabina Nowak, and she's going to talk about some virtual exchanges at her institution in Krakow. Before we start, Sabina, over to you. Please introduce yourself, your institution, and your role within your institution.
Thank you. I work at the Department of English Language Education at the University of the National Commission in Krakow. I lecture on CLIL and assessment. I also have classes devoted to teaching pre-service teachers. So I teach didactics at BA and MA levels. And I also got involved in virtual exchanges, and I really like it.
Okay, so thank you very much for joining me today. So now I understand you're working and doing a virtual exchange with California State University. Can you tell us a bit more about that? Is it a language, or is there other content involved in this virtual exchange?
It's rather content related because we read one book per year. So in 2022, it was A Mighty Long Way by Carlotta LaNier. And last year, it was Sitting Pretty by Dr. Rebecca Tosick. So the project usually lasts from 4 to 6 weeks. The students not only read the chapters, but also they have some questions to think about and to respond on the blog. They also meet synchronously on Zoom. So we have plenary sessions with Professor Emerson Case, and then the students are divided into breakout rooms. And they also have virtual boards on which they can first get to know each other better and then share their written reflections. And
it's like an online book club, exchanging opinions about the chapters and the books, right?
Indeed, this is an international book club, and usually the books are well chosen. For the first book refers to injustice, segregation, racism, and the second book well concerns people with disabilities, but quite a new way of perceiving disability. So Dr. Rebecca Tosick did it well, especially well as far as educating us, not only learners, students, but also educators and people who read the book.
So it's a collaboration between Poland and the US, but what about the nature of the nationalities of the students who participate? Is that quite varied?
Yes, there were 15 students from Mexico, high school students. There were also students from Guatemala, Argentina, but because of time differences, we were not able to meet all of them. And one student from Ukraine and one student from Montenegro.
So I'm guessing, Sabina, I mean, you're using English as the lingua franca, I'm assuming that. So I'm also assuming, and tell me if I'm wrong, there must be quite a lot of different levels of English with all these international students. How do you overcome, or how do you deal with this particular reality?
I think what works really well is the blog. And the questions that we have in our breakout rooms are those questions that students may respond to, well, earlier in advance, and then they read one another answers. Sometimes they are very similar, but sometimes they are reflective. And we know that students read them because, well, I agree with someone. So this is something that proves that they read the blogs and they respond to other students. And depending on the group dynamics within the breakout rooms, we also see whether we can ask additional questions. For example, if we can introduce a new question which was not on the list, for example, how to stop a bully. So the conversation is quite, well, the flow is quite fluent, and it's quite, it all depends on the group of students.
Yes, it's quite deep. So how much are they left to their own devices to organize themselves, and how much do you come in as teachers to support? Is there a degree of independence from the students? Do they have to work things out for themselves as well?
Polish students, they handle the IT really well. However, with the group of Mexican students, so the high school students, they were sitting in a classroom with their teacher, so they are not so active during the synchronous meetings. However, they share deep reflections that are somehow culturally based on blogs or on those getting to know you activity part.
Mm. And what would you say are the really positive learning outcomes for the students in this type of intercultural exchange with so many nationalities and books and these, well, yeah, you're choosing topics that are clearly very relevant to that age group. So what do you notice when the students have gone through this process? You say it's, I think you said 4 to 6 weeks the exchanges are. Is that right? Yeah.
That's true. Um, I'm not even mentioning the language-related benefits.
Sure.
However, in one of the articles that I co-authored, we write about benefits and challenges. And of course, we can name those improvement of linguistic skills. However, I think the students see the change in themselves. So we can see a transformation, or the students mention a different way of looking at different things, especially after reading books that are value oriented or that deal with difficult issues. And we also have watch parties. So we watch a short video, for example, how to stop a bully during the sessions. And the students also have some deep reflections. I will share the video of all people I know who are bullied, or why teachers don't share such videos. So this is eye-opening experience. Students love it. Students have a lot of deep reflections. So I think this is, there are a lot of key takeaways, not only the ones connected with language. Yes.
And what about the books, Sabina? You mentioned 2 books that you use. Do you change the books? Are they rotated, and who chooses which books you're going to use?
Professor Emerson case with a group of people. So this is quite complex what they are doing. There is, for example, a meeting with the author. We haven't taken part yet, but we would love to, with our students, go and visit the author of the book and ask questions in person. There is also a written competition for American students. We need to change it, yes. But this is something that it's more than only reading a book. It's meaning making. It's looking at different perspectives that
Yeah.
people share. And yes.
Where do you see this virtual exchange evolving in the future, Sabina? You're going to keep it up, or is it one that's going to be repeated, presumably?
Yes, for sure. We are going to continue with the international book project, and we are also thinking about it in the form of a micro-credential module that can be offered for our students. This is quite new. However, we would like to, we will negotiate it with our head, but maybe it will be possible to give students a credit, 1 or 2 points ECTS, so that they. Yes.
So at the moment, they don't have to attend. There is no accreditation at the moment, but that's what you're working towards.
This is voluntary, and we have also observed that not everyone likes reading books. Therefore, we would like to keep it like this. Only those students who enroll voluntarily, they will attend it, and they really have fun. They also benefit the most.
What do you find most challenging? I mean, you're saying not everyone likes to read books. That's true enough. So there's an issue of motivation in these kinds of collaborations. What are the other challenges that you've faced that you'd like to highlight to our viewers?
Of course, time differences, so different zones. This is something that prevents other students from different nationalities to join it. There are also challenges with some IT resources. For example, we don't have access to many virtual boards, so we would love to extend it. And
Mm.
we would also like to make it more social oriented or maybe action oriented learning. And we did it this year with a group of students. So we invited our partners from University of Applied Sciences in Nyssa, who also participated in the International Book Club. They came to Krakow, and we, as part of this sitting pretty book, we asked the students to go around Krakow and find places that they find accessible and inaccessible for the students. So it was an accessibility orienteering challenge that we organized.
Wow.
And the students took wheelchairs and stitches and blindfolds and simply were using those things to, and they were simply experiencing what it feels like to be a person with disabilities of different kind.
Wow.
And
And what happened? What happened
uh,
during this experience?
we have a lot of deep reflections from the students. They generally found it hard. They found it hard, but it also raised their awareness. It also somehow induced empathy or maybe compassion. So it's empathy and compassion. The difference is that the students want to change something, improve it. And I think this is something that they will remember for the rest of their lives, that during the university time they had the opportunity to experience such an event. And I think this is meaningful.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just wondering, following such an experience, do you envisage students taking action and taking the virtual exchange out into the community to make those changes? Is that something that you would support or encourage?
Yeah, so together with two other teachers from my department, Dr. Verona Król-Gierat and Dr. Agnieszka Strzałka, we would like students to get involved, but we don't want to force them. We would like them to think about different ways. And this is exactly what students did, because they had a course, special educational needs. And during the course, they were thinking about ways of solving different issues. They had a map and marked the places that were inaccessible. So this was, yes, student initiative, and somehow students were more involved. We were only somehow facilitating the whole enterprise. So this is it.
Mm. Yeah. So Sabina, before I let you go, would you have any advice for any other teachers thinking about embarking on a virtual exchange? It sounds all very complicated and there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle to fit in, but do the benefits outweigh the disadvantages?
I think doing what we love and finding right people to somehow do it, just like Professor Emerson Case not only structured the telecollaboration well, but somehow whatever he does it for the community, and somehow he cares about not only the students, the learners, but also he wants to introduce a change in well, in society, which is
Mm.
nice. And the choice of the books somehow prove it. And so, as I said, doing what you love, if you like reading books, join it with telecollaboration. If you like doing something else, if you are language oriented, maybe focus on grammar and pronunciation and how ways of improving it. So there are so many different ways in which we can somehow start telecollaboration. And when we are engaged in different activities, for sure, it will come fruitful.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Sabina, for sharing your insights today with us.
Thank you for your invitation. Thank you.